So I've got some pretty exciting news today. I actually received the Polyend tracker from the good folks at Polyend. They don't have any editorial say over the videos I make. Their only request was I make some videos. So pretty stoked about this, and I've been spending the week really diving into the tracker. I got it, I think, on Monday, which was a holiday here in the States, and so I was able to spend a lot of the day working on it then. And really, the tracker is the only piece of gear I've been using all week. And so there's a bunch of really cool stuff about this. For a basic overview, I know there's a lot of videos on the tracker, but in case somehow this is the first one you've watched, the tracker is a sample-based 8-track groove box that uses a tracker style interface, which means that you have vertically descending tracks with MIDI data rather than a horizontal track, although you can switch it to that view thanks to updates they've done. This thing has a bunch of really cool features. It has a radio, which I haven't tried yet. It uses a micro SD card for storage, and it comes with a really nice 16 gig one. So I've been able to put my entire splice library on here. It plays back and reads samples in mono, which is maybe like the only real con, if there is a con of this machine. However, like many of the limitations of this device, I think they're purposeful and they lead you to a specific type of creativity. And the other really important thing about the Polyend tracker is that it's $599 at retail. I've seen it go at $650, but everywhere I've looked recently it was $599, or around $600. And so at that price, I mean, if you compare it to some of the other devices on the market, I think it finds a really nice sweet spot between capability and price. Each project you make can have, I believe, 128 patterns, I want to say. Oh, wow. Okay. So it looks like you can have 255 patterns per project. I don't think there's a project limitation. Someone correct me in the comments if you know. I would imagine the project limitation would just be the storage limitation of like your SD card. Wow. I didn't realize how many patterns you could have. I've read the manual, I just forgot. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. So while I was waiting for this to get here, I talked to Polyend and we worked it out for them to send it to me, make videos about it. So I read the manual, I watched a bunch of videos on it. So I did have some sense of how to use this thing before it got here, but it was still pretty like alien when it first arrived, even with all of that information. And I think that would be one thing I would say is if you're going to pick this thing up, unless you have a history with trackers, then you're probably going to feel a little overwhelmed at first. But it didn't take me very long to wrap my head around this. One, because I've used a lot of devices that feel similar. The OPZ kind of comes to mind. The Electron Digitact is similar, although I was never super good with the Digitact when I had it. And I think it's pretty clear once you use it, you see the benefits of this per step setup. So if I hold record on just this one note, you can see I have all these different effects that I can apply just to this note. And you have 2 different effects tracks, and that is going to change per note, and you can route per note to any of those effects, 2 of them at a time. And this column is your instrument. And so what that means is if we look at the sample loader, these are my instruments that I've loaded in on this track. You can reference any of these. I only have 10, but I think you can have 48, I'm pretty sure. That limitation, I'm pretty sure, is accurate. There's 48, yep, instruments per project. These all share an allocated project memory, which is, I don't remember the exact detail off the top of my head, so check specifications for that. It's limited, but it makes you creative. And so, yeah, you can change the referenced instrument, the referenced note, and the referenced effect per step. And that really just creates an awesome amount of flexibility when it comes to the types of stuff you can make, even with the 8-track limitation. It's similar to parameter locking on the Digitact for people who've used that. You know, when I first started using this thing, I was really basic. Also, all of the projects are named with the auto name feature, which I really like. I know Ricky Tinez has talked about it and other people have as well. But the auto name feature is really sick and I like it a lot. So this one only has 1 pattern and I'm pretty sure this sucks. So forgive me. This first thing is like chaos and I'm just figuring it out. It's nothing. It's terrible. And that was me just like messing around trying to understand things. After that, I created this, which I think might actually be okay, if I remember right. It has just this one pattern. Let's check it out. So I'm holding Shift and Home to go to the top, and then... Okay, yeah, so this thing is a little better. But if you know the tracker, one thing you'll notice is I'm not using any of the effects per step here. And I think I am using the same instrument per track as well. So this is a very basic way of using this device. After this, I created Disturbed Sleep, and let's see, single pattern as well, but I do think this one becomes more complex. I could be wrong. I should listen to it first. Yeah, that one sounds really nice, and although it is not taking advantage of everything that this thing can do, it's not using like per step effects changes and stuff like that. You will notice some panning. I believe that is an instrument that has panning set to the LFO. So it's not this instrument. Is it this instrument? Is it this instrument? It is. Yeah, so this instrument has the panning on the LFO. Also, a lot of my earlier tracks, some of them are just loops that I got from Splice. In general, when I use loops, I like to chop them up and turn them into something. But when I was first wrapping my head around the device, I would just have a loop start and then play the loop via a single trigger, which is probably what is happening in track 2 here. If we solo it really quick. Okay, no, this is a melodic track, but I'm guessing track 1 is. Yeah, yep. I think this is a Murda Beats, if I'm correct. Yeah, Murda Beats drum loop from Splice, and this is one of the only tracks where I like just played just a full drum loop. I don't usually do this kind of thing, just because I don't like when I hear the same loop in someone else's song. It's like a pet peeve. But in this case, it helped build the backbone. So those two were just looping. But yeah, I pretty quickly got more complex than this and got into building song territory. Let's see. Comparison Regret is one I think I really like. This one has 4 patterns because I've been working on it throughout the week. But this is the first pattern. The first 2 patterns, I think, are actually the same. I'm not sure why I duplicated it. But then I mixed it up on 3 and 4. And yeah, you can start to see a little bit of usage of effects on certain steps. I think there's a volume effect on this one. This one I like, but the first real like song I made, I think, is Envious Sun, I think. And I can check that by actually going into the fact it took that long to load. Yeah, okay, so this is like an actual song I made, and I'm really stoked about this one. And so yeah, before I play this song, I'll just say, I'm really excited about the Polyend tracker, and it is a really interesting device. Like the limitations are obvious, but I do think they lead to creative solutions, and I think that they're on purpose, which is something I'm always okay with, right? My biggest issues with gear are really just if they don't do what they say they do, right? So if a computer or a piece of music gear or whatever says, I do this, and then you try to use it for that, and then it like crashes or struggles and fails, that's when I get mad. That's when I have a problem. The Polyend tracker says, this is what I am, this is what I do, this is how much I cost. And for the like value of this thing, it just seems nuts to me. Now I didn't have to pay the full price. I don't know how much I don't think they said don't say it. So anyway, I got a discount for making the video basically. And it wasn't like it wasn't huge. It was still hundreds of dollars I paid, to be honest. But I would pay full price for this thing for sure. If they like took it back, they're like, actually bad video, you're not allowed. Which I don't think they would do. But if they did that, I would still get one of these because it's a really interesting creativity machine. The first day I had it, I used it for like 2 hours and then like realized I'd been in the flow state they were talking about and felt like really weird. Like I was back in my body. And so I had to like go on a bike ride, and I took the Lumix S5 with me, my new camera, and filmed some footage of just riding my bike and being out in different parts of Portland on a really nice day. And so I'm going to show some of that footage. I might like overlay it in a cool way or just cut to it while I'm also playing this song for you. Before I do that, if you've enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. It helps my channel a lot. We're on our way to 5,000 subscribers, which is absolutely nuts. So thank you to everyone who's already done that. You're amazing. And this channel only really exists because you're participating in it. If you want to go above and beyond, I have a Patreon linked below and probably in a card somewhere. Members of the Patreon will get their names in the description of the video, the $3 tier, and then you'll actually get your name at the end of the video, in the video itself, the $6 tier. So if you're interested in that, Patreon's linked below, and I really do appreciate just you taking the time to watch this and be part of this channel. All right, I hope you enjoy this song and this footage of a sunny Portland day. Can you hear that Mustang? So that's the track. It's the most drum and bassy thing I've ever done. I'm really bad at doing top loops, and so I just put a top loop on there, but everything else is way more in detail and composed than, you know, some of the other stuff. And you can see that here. These numbers changing mean that the instrument is changing, the yellow, and then the pink is, or purple, is the effects changing. I think it's pink, who knows? Tell me in the comments, is that pink or purple? And so, yeah, I will probably do a more in-depth track breakdown on this thing, potentially. But this is the first, like, real song I made on here that I like. And it's just such a cool workflow. And it's such a different workflow. And I'm sure if you've used trackers before, you're like, no duh. But for me, it's a new experience. And so, thank you again, Polyend. Thank you again for watching. And I will catch you soon. All right. Bye.